Does the Bible, a book revered by billions, contain instances of murder, slavery, and rape? This isn't a question we ask lightly, but it's one that merits exploration, given its profound implications. Our journey begins with a look at murder. The Bible, particularly the Old Testament, presents numerous instances where murder is approved for reasons that may seem baffling to our modern sensibilities. From not listening to priests, to practicing witchcraft, or even following other religions, the reasons are as diverse as they are troubling. Next, we'll delve into the issue of slavery. The Bible, both in the Old and New Testaments, contains passages that seem to condone owning and mistreating slaves, practices that starkly contrast the family values often associated with the text. Finally, we'll explore the instances where rape is seemingly condoned and even approved. From the troubling laws of Deuteronomy to the devastating events at Jabesh-Gilead, these passages raise serious questions about the morality of such texts. These are difficult topics, no doubt, but necessary ones to discuss if we are to fully understand the text that guides the beliefs of so many. So hold on to your seats as we delve into these profound topics. Murder, an act abhorred by many, finds its place in the Bible. It's a chilling statement, isn't it? Yet as we delve into the sacred pages of this text, we find instances where murder is not only mentioned, but, in some circumstances, even approved of. Let's consider a few examples. The Bible contains passages where murder is sanctioned for reasons that may seem incomprehensible to the modern mind. For instance, not listening to priests, practicing witchcraft, being homosexual, hitting one's parents, committing adultery, and following other religions. Take, for example, the book of Deuteronomy, where it commands stoning for a variety of offenses. Or consider the book of Leviticus, where death is the prescribed punishment for homosexuality and adultery. But it's not just human hands that deal out death in these ancient pages. There are also instances of God's direct intervention resulting in the loss of human life. For example, the Great Flood, where all but 8 lives were wiped out, or the destruction of the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, where the inhabitants were incinerated for their perceived sins. These acts of divine retribution are often explained away as necessary punishments for a sinful humanity, but it's a complex issue, one that begs us to question the nature of morality and justice. The prevalence of murder and violence in the Bible, a book considered holy and guiding by billions, is indeed troubling. It raises deep questions about the moral messages conveyed through its pages. Are these passages merely reflective of the times in which they were written, or do they carry a deeper, more disturbing message? The prevalence of such violent acts in the Bible raises deep questions about its moral messages. As we continue our exploration, let's bear in mind these questions and the implications they have for our understanding of this ancient text. Slavery, a practice abolished globally, is condoned in the Bible. It's a statement that can seem jarring, especially considering the widespread belief that the Bible is a beacon of morality and righteousness. Yet when we delve deeper into the scripture, we find instances where the ownership of another human being is not only permitted but also regulated. In the book of Exodus, for instance, guidelines are provided on how to buy, sell, and treat slaves. It even goes as far as to specify that a slave can be beaten as long as they do not die within a day or two of the punishment. This isn't an isolated case, but a theme that recurs throughout the Old Testament. Moving into the New Testament, one might expect a shift in stance, given its focus on love, forgiveness, and tolerance. However, here too, slavery finds a place. In the letters of Paul to the Ephesians, slaves are instructed to obey their earthly masters with respect and fear and with sincerity of heart, just as they would obey Christ. This suggests that the early Christian church did not challenge the institution of slavery, but rather accepted it as a part of the societal structure. What is striking, though, is the stark contrast between these passages and the message of love, compassion, and equality that the Bible also propagates. It raises questions about the interpretation of these passages and whether they should be taken at face value or understood in the cultural and historical context in which they were written. The existence of slavery in the Bible challenges the family values it purports to promote. It forces us to grapple with the uncomfortable reality that even in our most revered texts, there may be aspects that reflect the darker side of human nature and societal norms of the time, rather than universal moral truths. As we continue to navigate our understanding of these texts, it is essential to approach them with a critical and open mind, acknowledging both their wisdom and their flaws. Rape, a horrific crime, is disturbingly present in the Bible. As we delve deeper into the text, we encounter instances where this act is condoned and shockingly even approved. Let's journey together through some of these passages. Our first stop is at Jabesh Gilead, a tale steeped in violence and tragedy. Here we find an account of murder, pillage, and yes, rape. The story is a stark portrayal of the brutality that was seemingly accepted in these times, a far cry from the moral standards we uphold today. Next, we traverse to the narrative involving the Midianites. This story is another disturbing testament to the acceptance of rape in the narrative of the Bible. The details of the story are hard to reconcile with the teachings of love and respect that are often emphasized. Then, we come across the laws of rape as laid out in Deuteronomy. These laws, rather than providing justice for victims, seem to further victimize them by forcing them to marry their attackers. This stark lack of concern for the victims themselves is a troubling aspect of the text. We also find other instances scattered throughout the text where women are treated as property, their bodies subjected to the whims of their male counterparts. And these stories, such as David's punishment, involving polygamy, rape, and even baby killing, are difficult to digest. Throughout this exploration, it's important to remember that our goal is not to condemn, but to question, to ponder, and to critically examine the text we've come to know so well. We need to ask ourselves, how does the presence of such acts within the Bible impact our understanding of it? These instances of rape in the Bible certainly pose a challenge to its moral authority. What do these instances of murder, slavery, and rape mean for the Bible's moral teachings? This is the question we're left grappling with after examining these troubling passages. The Bible, a text held in high regard by billions around the world, contains explicit endorsements of acts we universally condemn today: murder, slavery, and rape. This is not a matter of interpretation or context. These are direct passages approving of such acts. We've journeyed through instances where murder was condoned for reasons ranging from not listening to priests to following other religions. We've seen the approval of slavery, with verses instructing slaves to obey their masters and even condoning sex slavery. We've witnessed explicit condemnations of rape, with laws dictating that victims marry their attackers. These passages are, to say the least, disturbing. They shake the very foundations of the moral teachings we associate with the Bible. They challenge the notion that the Bible is an infallible moral compass. It begs the question, how do we reconcile these acts with the core values of love, compassion, and justice the Bible also espouses? This is not a call to abandon faith or reject the Bible. Rather, it's an invitation to engage critically with our sacred texts. It's a call to question, to wrestle with these texts, to grapple with their implications. It's a call to remember that morality is not static, it evolves. What we consider moral and just today is vastly different from what was considered moral thousands of years ago, and what we consider moral today may not stand the test of time. But that's the beauty of morality. It grows, evolves, and improves as we do. So we must ask ourselves, do we accept the Bible as a whole with its contradictions and disturbing passages, or do we choose to follow a more selective interpretation, one that aligns with our evolved understanding of morality? These disturbing aspects of the Bible challenge us to question and re-examine our understanding of its moral teachings.